Hi, everyone. So I just muted you all for our housekeeping notes. We're about to get started. We had you all enter the program with your videos and your microphones on so we can all do a very large welcome to you all and feel that we're all here for this really great symposium. I'd like to go through a few housekeeping notes before we get started. So today's program will be a series of conversations with different panelists. At the end of the symposium, we will have time for questions with attendees. During the question and answer portion of the conversation, you are encouraged to ask questions via the chat, and you're welcome to do so also throughout the programming. We do ask that you remain muted when not speaking in order to alleviate feedback. Should you have any technical issues, please do not hesitate to message us via the chat function so that we can ensure that you have the best experience. And now I'll hand it over to Elisabeth Aggro to kick off the symposium. Elisabeth, you'll want to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are located on the lands of the Lenni Lenape people. We pay respect to the Lenape peoples past, present, and future, and their continuing presence in the homeland and throughout the Lenape diaspora. Welcome to our program today. I'm Elisabeth Aggro, the Nancy M. McNeil, Curator of American Modern and Contemporary Craft and Decorative Arts at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. In January, I offered to host CraftNOW's Culture of Making Symposium in the PMA's Perlman Building Auditorium. By the end of April, it was obvious the symposium had to pivot to a virtual format, dashing our hope for us to be together in one physical space. The committee worked together to reimagine this event, dividing it into 2 afternoons, today and next week on November 6th. An underlying theme of activism was selected specifically to align with when the symposium would fall on the calendar. We intended to offer an opportunity to engage our hands in making in an effort to thwart any unpent feelings of stress and anxiety. As we will learn, craft has always gone hand in hand with activism and advocacy, but it also can be a salve and a source of meditation. Impossible to recreate this virtually, we encourage you to check out the wide variety of kits sold by Wild Hand, a Philadelphia-based community that believes in the magic of fibercraft, bringing together people who share a vision of an imaginative and just world. They are offering a discount to our attendees through their online store, and I'll place the code and information for Wild Hand in the chat in a few minutes for those who are interested. There's no substitute for actually being together, but I ask you to indulge me for just 1 minute. Please close your eyes, everyone. Let's click our heels 3 times. And I'm gonna wave my wand. Where is it? Here it is. I'll wave my wand, transporting everyone to the auditorium in the Perlman Building. We are now seated together, and I'm standing at the podium in front of you. Let me set us up for our conversation today. A hotbed for workshops of all craft media dating back to 1751, craft has deep roots in Philadelphia. Craft as an art form is part of our city's identity, past and present. Philadelphia Museum of Art is a distinguished leader in the field of modern contemporary craft and shapes this rapidly evolving field that is critical to its continued mission today. The multiplicity that makes up the Philadelphia craft community drives this art form to proliferate, thrive, and morph, redefining and blurring the boundaries of craft with each passing year. The museum and its principal stakeholders in Philadelphia's craft community are the power behind an intensified current, galvanizing Philadelphia as a craft capital. Each November, the Philadelphia Museum of Art Craft Show and CraftNOW, in collaboration with our craft community, band together to demonstrate how craft is embraced and celebrated throughout our city. Before I hand my wand over to Leila Cartier, I encourage you to visit the Philadelphia Museum of Art Craft Show on November 6th through the 8th, which is also being presented virtually, details for which will also be placed in the chat. I encourage you to support the many artists who are showcased, and in doing so, support my museum's most important fundraiser. The event is free this year, but we ask that you make a donation if you're so inclined. In these fiscally difficult times, we need you more than ever before. And I thank you and enjoy today's proceedings. Leila, I'm handing my wand to you.
Thank you so much, Elisabeth. I could not be more grateful that you have approached me to co-host this year's symposium, and we've had this occasion to work together. I equally want to thank the Philadelphia Museum of Art's affinity group Techne for sponsoring this symposium. Techne's programming focuses on international craft, as you mentioned, and it is always very dynamic. So on behalf of everyone at CraftNOW, I will say it is an honor to be recorded among these events. If I may speak a moment about what brings us here, the organization CraftNOW Philadelphia was founded 6 years ago to unite, support, and promote the exceptional talent among us and the importance of craft to the largest possible audience. An example of one of our recent projects is our second publication, Craft Capital, Philadelphia's Cultures of Making, released globally this spring. We do this work because it is our core belief that craft is a great unifier and convener. People from all walks of life, all ethnicities, age groups, and neighborhoods can and do make things. At CraftNOW, we work to demonstrate how makers and their supporting institutions are important for the community and generate value. This symposium series is part of the Craft Month activities we hold every November. Today, we are examining craft through the theme Cultures of Making, which we borrowed from the subtitle of the book I just mentioned, to highlight the ways research, activism, and connection develop out of craft practices all over the country. Coming up next Friday, November 6th, we have Crafting Public Ritual by Keynote Vashti DuBois of the Colored Girls Museum here in Philadelphia. Nava Milliken of Philadelphia's Center for Art and Wood will be hosting a panel reflecting on 25 years of the Wingate International Residency Program. And John Prius with Christine Pfister of Pentimenti Gallery will be talking about John's work and new exhibition. On Saturday, November 7th, CraftNOW is excited to be hosting Philadelphia's largest free art class. We have created 500 take-home kits and distributed them to galleries and access centers across the city. If you have an elementary age child that would be interested, please visit our website to find a kit and follow along during the program. And I will be posting this information in the chat for you. One last thing I would like to mention before we start is our own annual fundraiser this year to include a special auction that just opened for bidding yesterday. We're closing this with a live program Saturday, November 14th. I've invited our past symposium keynote speakers, Glenn Adamson, Michelle Fisher, Roberto Lugo, and Abraham Thomas to join us. This is going to be a casual virtual gathering to include some scholarly information and a few entertaining surprises. So to learn more about these programs and many more, please visit our website, craftnowphila.org, and consider a donation while you're there to help us continue with our work. With that, I believe we have given our official remarks. Any latecomers have had a chance to sign on, and all of you have been able to settle in. I am very excited to begin this afternoon's program. As a reminder, I'm going to ask that you remain muted until the end, at which point we invite all of you to unmute yourselves and have your videos on so that we can share a moment of conversation together. We also suggest using speaker view during these presentations. Our presenters will be eager to hear your questions. Please put them in the chat along with where you're joining us from so that we can share them this afternoon.